Letting go is so difficult because we have no idea what we letting go of. See, oftentimes we have to be able to face our fear because our fear is what helps our future. Not knowing what we understand that what we have been through is preparing us for what we're going through, is teaching us that it's okay to let go of everything that we've been holding on to. See, in order to let go of it, we have to understand we're letting go of the pain, of the trauma, and the experience that we have been holding on to without even knowing this is the cause of the problem. See, the problem is not here because of today. The problem is present because of our future. That's why learning to let go is so important, because once we let go, we grow into our passion because our passion is in our future. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Terryl with the Humphrey, and welcome to another episode of Failure is Knowledge. Here at Failure is Knowledge, we speak about growth and how we're becoming the best for ourselves. Not only for ourselves, but for our journey, for our passion. But we have to learn how to do that. See, it takes time. And once we put the time and effort to ourselves, that's when we grow. That's when we evolve. That's when we learn more about ourselves. If this is your first time here at Failure is Knowledge, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Wait towards the end to leave a comment on how you are going to let go of everything that you have been through. If you're watching this, make sure you like and leave a review on how you're going to let go of everything that you have been dealing with. The first one I want to hit on is explaining what letting go even is. Letting go is facing the fears when the fears has been stopping us from conquering them, from understanding why they are even present. See, when we have bad days, it's not just because of today. When we have bad days, it's because of everything that we have been through. When we have what we have been through, the stories what we going through, because we don't understand, we're feeling some reason for a particular way because of our trauma, because of our past, because of our past experience. But we have to identify when we face fear head on, we learn more about ourselves and what we're capable of. That's when we learn how to personally grow within ourselves. That's the first point I want to hit on: personal growth. We have to learn what personal growth is. Personal growth is evolving and learning and getting better than you was yesterday. You can only get better when you put effort in. Furthermore, you can only grow when you're understanding what you're growing into. See, that's why it's so important to recognize that effort effort has to be consistent. Effort has to be in place to understand that what you're going through, you're absolutely okay. See, personal growth comes from a choice. It comes from identifying that change is going to happen. And as change is happening, we have to understand how important it is to let go of what we've been through. See, as we're going through our journey, our past is stopping us because our feelings is hurt. Once our feelings is hurt, we don't understand where it's coming from. That's why it's so important to understand that our past stops us from growing, because we haven't accepted or forgave everything that we have been through. We haven't forgave it because we're still holding on to it. It's still bothering us. And as it's bothering us, we have no idea how to face it. See, I didn't understand when I went through my divorce sparked abandonment issues. I had abandonment issues, didn't even recognize that my abandonment was the problem. But it became the problem when more problems start to build up upon each other. That's when I learned. I'm like, okay, am I the only one? That's when I thought, am I the only one? Am I the only one going through a tough time? Am I the only one experiencing? I don't know what it's called, but it's some problem that I'm not familiar with. How can I face something that I'm unaware of? See, that's what happens when we personally grow within ourselves. We learn how to adapt to fear. We learn how to understand that fear is only an emotion, an emotion that has to be conquered when we understand why. That's why it's so important to recognize that you're not alone. I had to recognize for myself I wasn't alone. I just need to get around people, older people, to learn from them, to gain their wisdom, to gain their knowledge, because the people that's around us is helping us solve the problems that we have been going through. See, what you're going through, you're just speaking to the wrong people, because the wrong people is giving you the wrong type of advice. However, the right people gives you the right advice because it's from their experience. That's when I understood that personal growth is not just saying I'm growing for myself, but I'm growing through this problem. I'm growing through this trauma. I'm growing through this experience that has been holding me down, because I'm not worried about the future. I'm worried about the past. There's a saying, That if you try to go forward, you can't go forward because you're constantly looking back. And as you're constantly looking back, how can you gain how can you gain traction? How can you gain momentum if how you're going is reversed? See, we're so focused on what's behind us because we don't know what's in front of us. What's in front of us is identifying that we have to take it step by step by step by step, because we have to learn how to use the step by step by step by step as stepping stones. See, your past should be used as stepping stones to help you understand that your past is here to help you grow. See, that's the point. Second point I want to hit on is that we have to learn how to use our past as stepping stones for our future. See, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when we understand what we're doing. It happens when we understand we're facing our fear, and our fear is no longer conquering us. Our fear is no longer destroying us. Our fear is no longer weighing us down, because when we learn how to take a step forward, we're no longer looking back. And when we take another step forward, we identify that back is going to stop us from growing. So you can only go so far if you're willing to take that step. See, taking that step is identifying that it's going to be okay. That's why understanding that the stones in the past that we go through and experience that we experience is here to prepare us. It's here to say you're on the path that you're on because you need to grow personally. See, now my dad and I've been taught me that it's okay to be a man, but how can you be a man? See, I had to learn how to be a man because it wasn't taught to me. That's what I understood of power of speaking to other people, or older people, because older people will teach you life lessons, will teach you wisdom that they have because they have experienced what you're going through. What I'm going through, they already overcame, but as they overcame, they're teaching me, hey man, this is what I did. This is what I experienced. I remember this one time I was speaking to this gentleman, and recently, I met him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he was 80 years old. He said he was 80 years old. And so I pushed him the basket. Once I got done the shop, I was out to put the basket in the basket carriage, and I gave it to him. He was like, yeah, man, I'll take it. I was like, cool, here you go. He was like, does this basket go the opposite way that I would like for it to go? I said, nope, it goes the way that you push it. He was like, good, because I hate those type of baskets. But he was just so happy. He was just so happy. And then I asked him, I was like, what's the secret to a happy life? He said, first, I've been married for 60 years. He brought his wife into the conversation. First, I've been married for 60 years. Then I just learned how to love what I do. Because he's 80 years old versus me being 24. His wisdom is showing me that peace comes when you accept and identify who you are. See, he knew himself. He was comfortable with himself. And he was a jokester. And as he was building his team, and I asked him, because he has a company, he has a business, and I just asked him, I was like, so what do you do? He told me what he did, and I asked him, how do you build a good team around you? He said, first you got to have people that you can trust and they can trust you. Because if they don't trust you, nothing's going to get done. If you don't trust them, nothing's going to be completed. But it's understanding, knowing what you would like. See, learning from the past. Learning from his past is my future because he's older than me. He's older than me because he has a lot of wisdom, a lot more wisdom than me, right? So what he's been through might seem like a past, but it's a present for me. That's why speaking to older people is saying that I want to learn from people that understand what I've been through and where I'm trying to go, and to put me in a place where I'm not even what I'm prepared for. But it's the will to ask the questions. It's the will to understand that, hey, this is my experience from an older person. This is what I've been through. Because he didn't read that from a book. He didn't read what the information that he gave me from a book. It was something that he actually experienced. And when he experienced, he told me that information made me understand, like, oh, okay, you need to understand that your stepping stone is only preparing you for your preparation, and your preparation to get prepared when you understand what you're preparing for. That's why facing your past, conquering the fear is building you up personally. Because as it's building you up personally, it's developing you professionally. See, it takes time. It takes time, and it also takes understanding that we have to be willing to fail and to be embarrassed to feel like we're alone. We're not alone. We're just not speaking to the right people. We're just not talking enough. We're just not speaking the right information that can help us later on in life. See, letting go of everything we've been through is facing that fear and recognizing that I'm going to be okay. Because when we learn from other people, they have been through life, they have been through experiences, they have been through struggles, they have been through downfalls, they have been through so many different things. And when they teaching us, and when they talk to us, they're not talking about from a book, they're talking about from their experience. That's what helped us. That's what helped me face my fear, face my past head on. See, my past wasn't working with me. I wasn't working with my past, rather I was working against it. How can you work with something when you don't even understand what that something is? That's when I understood learning what the fear is. I have to be willing to go back and face the fear and understand that this fear didn't come today. It came from years ago. That's why it's so important to not be so hard on yourself, to recognize that letting go, I'm not just letting go of the pain, I'm letting go of everything that I've been holding on to so I can develop personally. You can only develop personally when you make a change for yourself. Making a change for yourself is no longer saying that I'm no longer looking back. I'm no longer looking back because as I'm looking back, it's stopping my progression. My progression is not going because I'm not constantly taking a step forward. Rather, I'm taking 3 steps back. And I have to build that momentum back up to understand that the way I'm walking is only going to be building. It's only going to consistently build once I take that step. Once I take that next step. Once I take that 3rd step. We just have to be willing to let go of what we're holding on to push forward. See, pushing forward is a skill, but it's a skill that has to be learned and developed. It only can be developed when we understand why we have to let go of our past and face it head on to understand why we're feeling this way. Before I get to the 3rd point, this Wednesday, I'm hosting a free webinar on how to repurpose your pain into your passion. See, we all go through tough times. We all have struggles. We all have trauma. But it's identifying that you can repurpose your trauma and everything that you've been through into your passion. Because oftentimes what we're doing, we're helping the next person grow through what we have been through. See, it takes time, but we have to start with ourselves. That's why this Wednesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm hosting a free webinar on how to repurpose your pain into your passion. And we all have pain, but it's identifying that your pain can become your passion. We understand why. The last point I want to hit on. And if you would like to join this Wednesday, this free webinar, the link will be in the description below. Make sure you click sign up for it, register, and I see you this Wednesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The last point I want to hit on is how letting go can lead to new opportunities. See, new opportunities comes from change. New opportunities only get presented when we understand that we can't be our old self and achieve something new. That's why we have to change and understand we're developing personally, we're developing professionally as well. Because we have to understand that our past is stopping us from growth. I had to recognize that my past, me not facing my fear, me not facing my nervousness, me not facing my overthinking, it led me to not believe in everything that I was doing. See, opportunities only get presented when we prepare for it. I can't prepare for something that I'm afraid of, because as I'm afraid, nothing is getting done. And when nothing get done, I don't understand how to continue to get better. How can I get better when better wasn't even a language? That's why understanding that it takes time to believe. And as we believe it, we have to recognize that our past can lead to new opportunities. And it's only leading to new opportunities because we have to change for ourselves. We have to change and grow personally and identify who we are. See, when we change, we learn more about who we are because nobody has taught us about the person that's in the mirror. My favorite song is by Michael Jackson. And it really made sense to me last year when I really heard it for like the 25th time or whatnot. But it was the way I heard it. It was the message. The message was the same, but I heard it in the new mind. I heard it in a new perspective. He said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I don't know if y'all heard that song. Man in the mirror. Just listen to the lyrics. Just listen to how good it is, because he speaks about what we all struggling with. I had to start with the man in the mirror, because the man in the mirror was the problem to my future. Because I wasn't facing myself, because I was afraid of who I was becoming. I was afraid of who I was, because I didn't know who I was can change. I didn't know who I was can evolve. I didn't know who I was a lesson that can help me prepare for my future. See, identifying that our past can lead to new opportunities is starting with the man in the mirror, because the man in the mirror has to identify change. Change happens, but it only happens when we decide to change for ourselves. That's why it's so important to recognize that when we face our fears are only growing into our passion, to something that we like, because we understand we're in control now. And we can only be in control when we change what we think about ourselves. So when you start with yourself, you learn more about who you are. You grow personally, because you learn everything that hasn't been taught to you. See, the will to learn is speaking to older people, because older people has the secret and the wisdom and the knowledge that can help us in life. See, it's scary because of the sound of it, yet the sound of it makes it better. That's what makes it better, because we have to pursue what we are afraid of, even though we're nervous, even though we're overthinking it. How can we face this fear head on and become the best version of myself personally? See, personally is a skill that has to be developed. See, growth is an understanding that change is going to happen, but it's change coming for you. That's why it's so important to heal from your past, to let go of what you have been through, because what you are going through is only getting better. It's only evolving, because we're changing for ourselves. See, we have to personally grow. As we grow, we develop within ourselves. And as we develop within ourselves, we have to use the past as stepping stones to prepare for our future. And as we understand that the stones that we're stepping on is a stone that help us prepare, we have to identify that new opportunities come from the way we change, or the way we evolve, and we can't accept new opportunities with the same mind. That's what I understood. That change and letting go is a skill, because it has to be practiced every single day. And we have to get better than we were yesterday, rather than the next person. Rather than getting better than the next person, we have to be better than we were yesterday, because we grow and develop more than we think. Development doesn't happen because now we understand why it's taking place. That's why it's so important to be comfortable with everything that you're doing, to be aware and face that fear head on, because when you face that fear head on, you're no longer running from everything that you have been through, because what you've been through, you are growing through. That's why it's so important to recognize letting go is the best thing, because this is the moment you begin to grow for yourself. If you enjoyed this video and really understand how letting go is better for you rather than holding everything in, leave a comment down below explaining how you're going to let go and face the fears and the challenges that you have been running away from. And it's only possible we make things possible with our mind. Our mind is the gateway, it's the key, because we have to learn how to let go of everything that we have been through. If you enjoyed this video and would like to watch more videos on how to personally develop within yourself, how to personally grow for yourself, click this video right here, and I'll see you there.